This is the story of Immersed Tunnels, a feat of engineering so complex, it defies human intuition and challenges the very laws of the ocean. Before a single stone is laid, they must read the seabed. This hidden landscape is filled with jagged rocks, shifting sands, and invisible underwater currents. A trench is carved into the ocean floor, a grave for the tunnel. One mistake here means the entire structure will succumb to the pressure. These segments are not just concrete, they are hollow giants, sealed at both ends, waiting to be swallowed by the cold, unforgiving Atlantic depths. But how do you sink a building-sized block and align it within centimeters while fighting the relentless pull of the tide? The process is surgical. Inside the dry dock, the massive gates finally open. For the first time, water rushes in, surrounding the concrete giant that was born on land. Despite weighing 50,000 tons, the hollow segment begins to lift. It defies gravity, floating like a steel-reinforced iceberg in the deep, dark basin. Tugboats arrive like tiny ants moving a mountain. They must pull this monolith miles away from the shore into the unpredictable heart of the sea. On the surface, the segment is vulnerable. A sudden shift in the wind or a rogue wave could turn this masterpiece into a sunken wreck. GPS sensors and laser guides monitor every millimeter. In the middle of the ocean, there is no room for a single degree of deviation above the pre-dug trench. Here, the giants of engineering will meet their ultimate test of gravity and pressure. Anchoring systems lock the segment in place, and the destination is a precise coordinate massive steel cables tension against the current, holding the beast still while the world waits in silence. Inside the hollow chambers, engineers prepare for the immersion. They are about to let the ocean in, using water to fight the water itself. Ballast tanks begin to fill. The air is slowly replaced by the cold weight of the Atlantic, dragging the structure down into the dark abyss. Slowly, the giant vanishes from the surface. It is no longer a boat. It is becoming a permanent part of the Earth's hidden underwater crust. Deep beneath the surface, the darkness is absolute. Only the powerful beams of underwater drones illuminate the graveyard of sand and steel. The new segment descends, moving slowly toward the one already anchored. Two giants are about to meet in a silence that hides immense pressure. High-precision hydraulic jacks take control. They pull the 50,000-ton block with the delicacy of a surgeon, aiming for a gap of only millimeters. A giant rubber gasket sits between. This fragile-looking seal is the only thing standing between a dry road and a catastrophic ocean flood. As they touch, a small amount of water is trapped between the two bulkheads. The engineers now activate the pumps, creating a vacuum inside. Nature takes over. The immense weight of the ocean above presses the new segment against the old one with millions of tons of force. The rubber seal is crushed flat by the pressure. It becomes an impenetrable wall, locking the ocean out forever in a cold, permanent embrace. Inside, the steel doors finally open. For the first time in history, air from the surface enters a space that was once the seabed. A dry connection is made. Engineers walk through the hollow heart of the ocean, protected by nothing but a few meters of reinforced concrete. But the battle isn't over. They must now seal the joints with molten steel, ensuring the abyss stays on the outside for a century. Outside, the ocean is a relentless enemy. Millions of tons of salt water wait for the tiniest crack to invade this man-made sanctuary. The first line of defense is a high-tech membrane. Like a waterproof skin, it wraps the entire structure, blocking every molecule of corrosive brine. Beneath the skin lies reinforced steel, specifically treated to survive a century. It provides the skeletal strength needed to hold back the abyss. Every joint is a potential disaster. Multiple layers of sealant are injected under high pressure, filling every microscopic void within the concrete heart. Scientists monitor the breathing of the tunnel. As the tides shift, the massive structure flexes, absorbing the dynamic energy of the restless sea. Concrete is not just stone here. It is a specialized mix, designed to become harder and more impermeable as the decades pass underwater. Inside the walls, thousands of sensors act as a nervous system. They detect heat, vibration, and moisture long before a human could. Above, the trench is refilled with layers of rock and sand. The tunnel is buried, hidden from the world but safe from dragging anchors. A final layer of heavy armor rock is placed. This shield protects the structure from the impact of sinking ships or massive debris. The tunnel is now one with the seabed. It is an invisible fortress, a silent triumph of engineering hidden beneath the crashing waves. Deep inside, the tunnel must breathe. Massive ventilation fans, larger than jet engines, spin tirelessly to flush out toxic fumes and bring in fresh air. This is the heart of the machine. A constant flow of oxygen is a fragile thread that keeps the subterranean world connected to the surface. Power flows through miles of shielded cables. Lighting, pumps, and sensors depend on a grid that can never, under any circumstances, fail. In the dark, the lights are a beacon of safety. High-intensity LEDs illuminate the path, casting long shadows against the reinforced concrete ribs. Emergency systems stand ready in silence. Backup generators, hidden in concrete bunkers, wait for the second the main power flickers or dies. Water is the constant enemy. Massive sump pumps work in the shadows, drinking every drop of seepage to keep the road bone dry. A central nervous system monitors everything. In a remote control room, engineers watch digital screens, tracking every car, every fan, and every spark. Communication is a lifeline. Signal boosters ensure that even a mile under the seabed, the digital world remains just a tap away. Fire is the ultimate nightmare. Automated foam cannons and mist systems are primed to strike at the first hint of a rising temperature. This invisible life support system turns a concrete tomb into a living highway. It is a masterpiece of hidden, high-stakes infrastructure. Water is the constant enemy. Massive sump pumps work in the shadows, drinking every drop of seepage to keep the road bone dry. A central nervous system monitors everything. In a remote control room, engineers watch digital screens, tracking every car, every fan, and every spark. Communication is a lifeline. Signal boosters ensure that even a mile under the seabed, the digital world remains just a tap away. Fire is the ultimate nightmare. Automated foam cannons and mist systems are primed to strike at the first hint of a rising temperature. This invisible life support system turns a concrete tomb into a living highway. It is a masterpiece of hidden, high-stakes infrastructure. Meet the TBM, a subterranean monster. Spanning the length of 2 football fields, this mechanical beast eats through solid rock like it's nothing. At the front, a rotating cutter head with teeth made of tungsten carbide grinds the earth into dust, inching forward with unstoppable hydraulic force. Behind the head, a factory follows. It installs reinforced concrete rings, building the tunnel's skeleton as fast as the monster can move forward. This is a war against pressure. Thousands of tons of earth and ocean push down, trying to crush the machine before it can finish. Lubricants and specialized mud are pumped to the front. They stabilize the face of the tunnel, preventing the ocean floor from collapsing into chaos. Operators sit in a high-tech cockpit, navigating by laser. A deviation of just a few inches could lead the monster into a disaster. The heat is unbearable. Friction from the rock turns the tunnel into an oven, requiring massive cooling systems to keep the machinery alive. Under the seabed, the danger doubles. If the TBM hits a pocket of high-pressure water, the entire project could be swallowed in seconds. When two TBMs meet from opposite sides, it is a miracle of math. They align within millimeters, shaking hands in the dark, silent abyss. The TBM leaves behind a finished tube, a scar in the Earth's crust that will carry millions of people through the dark forever. Safety in an underwater tunnel is not an option. It is a mechanical religion. Every meter is designed to protect life against the crushing weight of the sea. Between the two main tubes lies a hidden sanctuary, a pressurized escape gallery kept free of smoke and fire, acting as a lifeline for thousands. Automated sensors detect a single spark in milliseconds. Instantly, massive smoke extraction systems roar to life, pulling death away from the trapped commuters. In the event of fire, specialized heat-resistant tiles protect the concrete core. They prevent the structure from weakening under temperatures that could melt steel. Firefighting robots stand ready in their bays. These autonomous guardians can navigate through thick smoke to extinguish flames before they spread into a catastrophe. Communication remains unbreakable. Emergency phones and loudspeakers are linked to a redundant fiber optic network, ensuring no voice is ever lost in the deep. If water ever enters, massive floodgates are triggered. These steel titans can seal off an entire section, sacrificing a part to save the whole. Escape routes are clearly marked in the dark. Photoluminescent signs glow with an eerie green light, guiding people toward the safety of the pressurized shafts. Control room operators run constant simulations. They practice for the impossible every day, preparing for the moment when seconds determine the fate of many. This silent guardian never sleeps. It is the invisible shield that ensures the journey beneath the ocean is as safe as a walk in the park. Above, the sea belongs to the giants. Cargo ships carrying the world's wealth pass over the very roads that keep the global economy breathing. Time is the most expensive currency. These tunnels shave hours off journeys, turning treacherous sea crossings into a simple 10-minute drive through the dark. Two cities, once separated by waves, are now one. Trade flows 24/7. Unaffected by the storms that once grounded every ship and halted every plane. Logistics is a game of centimeters. Every truck passing through carries the fuel, food, and technology that power the modern, interconnected human civilization. These are the invisible arteries of nations. Without them, the pulse of trade would slow, and the cost of living would rise with the tides. Maintenance is a silent, nightly ritual. While the world sleeps, teams inspect every bolt, ensuring the economic heart never misses a single vital beat. The ROI is measured in decades. A tunnel is not just a road. It is a century-long promise of stability, growth, and unbreakable human connection. Geopolitics plays out in the depths. Controlling these corridors means controlling the flow of history, power, and the very future of regional influence. As populations grow, the demand for these subterranean shortcuts explodes. We are building a world where the ocean is no longer a barrier. This is the price of progress. Billions of dollars buried in the sand, returning 1,000-fold in the silent, steady flow of human ambition. The ocean is changing. Rising sea levels and warming waters create new, unpredictable pressures on the ancient concrete sentinels that guard our roads. Corrosion is a slow, invisible predator. Over decades, salt molecules fight to reach the steel heart, seeking to turn strength into brittle dust. Earthquakes are the ultimate test. Deep beneath the crust, shifting plates send shock waves that could snap a 100,000-ton tunnel like a twig. We are building in an era of uncertainty. Engineers must now account for a world where once-in-a-century storms happen every single year. Maintenance never ends. Underwater drones equipped with AI scanners patrol the exterior, looking for the faintest whisper of a structural crack. The cost of preservation is soaring. As structures age, nations face a grueling choice: invest billions to repair or let the abyss reclaim them. Smart materials are the new frontier. Self-healing concrete, infused with bacteria, could one day fix its own wounds before they become fatal. But can we outrun nature forever? Every masterpiece of engineering has an expiration date, a limit to its defiance against the relentless tide. We monitor the seabed's shifting sands. Invisible currents carve out the earth beneath the tunnel, threatening to leave it hanging in the void. This is the fragile reality of our success. We live on the edge of a deep-sea empire, always one crack away from the silence. We have built what was once thought impossible. Deep beneath the waves, our concrete arteries continue to pulse, defying the crushing weight of the world. This is more than engineering. It is a testament to human will. We don't just survive the elements, we master them to connect our civilizations. Future tunnels will span entire oceans. We dream of transcontinental links, high-speed vacuums where trains fly at the speed of sound beneath the abyss. Materials will become alive. Dynamic structures that adapt to the pressure, harvesting energy from the very currents that try to tear them apart. The lessons we learned under the sea will take us to the stars. Building on the seabed is the blueprint for building on distant, icy moons. Generations will pass, but these scars of progress will remain. They are the silent monuments to a species that refuse to be divided by water. We have moved mountains and tamed the tides. The abyss is no longer a void of fear, but a canvas for our greatest human achievements. Every journey through the dark is a reminder of our light, the brilliance of the mind overcoming the immense, cold pressure of the deep. As we look toward the horizon, we realize the journey has only just begun. The next great challenge is already waiting beneath the next wave. Beyond human knowledge, there is only the infinite. And we will keep building, keep dreaming, until the entire world is finally, truly connected.